What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. So we got another huge update as we now have Trump's legal spokesperson and attorney Alina Habba coming forth with new evidence on the corruption of this Judge Juan Merchan. Guys, don't even get me started on Judge Juan Merchan and why he should have stepped down, recused himself from this case from Jump Street. You know, his daughter and his wife being essentially mascots for the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris. It just doesn't make sense why he doesn't see that he can't act impartial within this case. We've seen his bias being inflicted through that gag order, the way his behavior and emotions on this case has ran rampant. You know, he's lashed out on the defense multiple times. And now, Alina Habba is slamming down saying he must go to jail, must be disbarred. I'm excited to see what's going on there and what leads Alina Habba to believe that Judge Juan Merchan is dirty. So I'm going to get straight into the clips and I'll get my thoughts on the back end, guys. So definitely stick around to the end. So guys, get my thoughts on the back end. And also, YouTube, push this video out. Definitely stick around until the end, you guys. But yeah, let's get straight into the news. Before we do that, though, make sure you guys hit that like button for me and also hit that subscribe button, guys. So on the road to the truth, hop aboard for the journey. Yo, let's get into it, y'all.
All right, today, the media mob, their coverage of the Trump trial on MSDNC, well, let's say got very weird, very fast. As former Mueller pitbull, remember Andrew Weissman? Anyway, he took a moment to declare his deep, abiding love for Judge Merchan. Take a look.
As you've noted, with respect to Judge Merchan, I mean, I am like now, I have like a man crush on him. Right. He is such a great judge that it's hard to see that the jurors wouldn't have the same impression. I mean, you just keep on thinking, if you looked in a dictionary for like judicial temperament, that's what you get.
He's one of those guys that peddled the Russia conspiracy hoax lie for 3 years on a network that peddled conspiracy theories for 3 years. Isn't that sweet? Here now, Trump legal spokeswoman Alina Habba is back with us. All right, let's get your take on all of this today, Alina.
Well, Sean, I know intimately the Mueller and Russia hoax, and this is the epitome of it. He's like an advertisement for Hillary Clinton and the BS that they peddled and they got away with. And God knows if it was Trump, no chance. By the way, that's a perfect example, Sean, of an FEC investigation that actually resulted in a fine, unlike President Trump, unlike the hoax that we're dealing with right now in New York. He should be ashamed of himself. I mean, that was just the most ridiculous.
That's when she took money and funneled it through a law firm that hired an op research firm that hired a guy by the name of Christopher Steele that put together a dirty Russian disinformation lying dossier that was used to get not one but 4 FISA warrants approved, lying to a FISA court. Nobody seems to pay a price in those cases.
Most importantly, Sean, what did she do with that money? She funneled it through her law firm. And the law firm was a guy's. Sounds very familiar. Don't forget what they're doing here. Don't forget what trial we're dealing with here. If they're saying that he's doing it, it's because they've done it themselves. President Trump has done nothing wrong. Who has done something wrong was exactly the example of what we just saw. This man has a crush on this judge. Why? Because he peddles the false narrative that the Democrats right now need, because President Biden cannot win on policies. He cannot win on immigration. He cannot win on anything. So they have somebody come up who's from back in the day and fail to acknowledge the fact that Hillary Clinton actually got an FEC violation for funneling money through a law firm, for booking it as a legal expense. That is the person that should be sitting on trial right now, not President Trump.
Let me ask you, what was your take and your read on the questions that are being asked by the jury and jury instructions that, as we pointed out, actually go against not one but 2 separate Supreme Court decisions?
Yeah, I think that we have to be honest about what's going on here. For me to sit here and give America false hopes would be disingenuous. I think that realistically, this judge is going to manage these questions the way he wants. Number one, their questions are about Pecker and Cohen's testimony. Personally, I wouldn't even be looking at Cohen's testimony, Sean. I can't imagine a world in which I would care what that man said. Number two, we've got Pecker's testimony about stories, but all of them are missing one thing. President Trump, who was in the White House running what he needed to run. So I'm confused by it. I honestly know better at this point than to assume that a New York jury is doing anything other than looking at it and assuming. You know, I always assume the worst in New York, I'll be honest with you. But hopefully this jury is taking this case seriously. To me, it should have been acquittal. I know for you the same, but we're in New York, and that was by design. So let's see what happens. We're giving them the evidence they needed.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Coming from Trump's legal spokesperson and attorney, Alina Habba, guys. She's calling exactly how she's seeing it, you know. She knew from the jump that this case wouldn't have much hope. You know, if it made it to trial, made it past, you know, being tossed out, this judge never stepped down. The jury never got proper jury instructions. It was very unclear. We've seen from the jump, you know, this case was unclear, very confusing. And it was made like that on purpose. And that's what she's trying to explain right here. You know, if anything, it shouldn't be Trump withstanding this trial. It should be Michael Cohen. You know, he is the one who stole money out the hush money payments. He's the one who, you know, orchestrated, you know, conducted the whole hush money payment payout. The only reason why Donald Trump is facing the consequences is because he's running for 2024 presidency, guys, and we can see straight through this case. I kept saying this case was heading straight towards, you know, being tossed out, heading towards a mistrial or Trump being, you know, acquitted for these crimes because it was, you know, little to no evidence, a very weak foundation for this case. I just didn't see how the jurors would be able to come with a conclusion on this to say that Donald Trump was guilty. But the very unclear jury instructions coming from Judge Juan Merchan was done on purpose. Very intentional. And that in combination with us being in the corrupt state of New York is why the jurors came to that guilty verdict on Donald Trump. This judge better watch out, though. It seemed like this all may backfire on him. It sounds like this Judge Juan Merchan better watch out, though, because if you don't know one thing or you haven't noticed one thing about Trump and his legal team yet, it's when these corrupt, you know, rogue justices and judges come after him and his legal team, they're always going to, you know, do some digging, do some research on what they're doing behind the scenes. You know, if you're dirty inside of your courtroom, you're dirty inside your office, most likely you're doing more dirt than what you're doing to Donald Trump. We've seen that with Fani Willis. You know, all of her dirt just came out of nowhere, it seemed like. And this is what's going to happen here. You know, Judge Juan Merchan has not seen the end of Trump, his legal team. This one ultimately take its way up to the Supreme Court so we can get an appeals. We definitely got to still keep in mind that this isn't, you know, total loss for Donald Trump since he got that guilty verdict. You know, he's taking large wins, larger than, you know, the win that think the left it took by getting this guilty verdict on Donald Trump. The optics of it all still doesn't show that Donald Trump is a criminal. In the American people's eyes, they can see through this charade case. This is one of the weakest cases, even one of the cases said to be by the Democrat, one of the weakest cases. They didn't think this thing was going to make it to trial. As this case developed, more and more folks jumped on board saying this case was totally wrong, shouldn't have been brought about by that corrupt district attorney Alvin Bragg, his partner in crime, Judge Juan Merchan, letting this clown case come about in this circus of a courtroom, you know. Tempers flying, people yelling, hollering out from the prosecution, and that's because they have so many emotional ties within this case. Their political and personal interest and their bias in the case has shown, and that's why they're going to be in big trouble when the day is done. You know, this isn't all over just because, you know, they walked into this charade court case and got that guilty verdict, slapped Donald Trump, saying they trying to label him as a criminal. It's ultimately what they're trying to do. This thing was all for optics, but it was very counterintuitive because the way Donald Trump has went and worked the courtrooms against them. You know, every time court was over or he got a break, he would go out there and talk to the media. Even through the gag order, he was, you know, talking so that we could read between the lines on who he was, you know, describing what was going on, still not going against or violating that gag order. So I feel like he has manipulated this case to the point where he won ultimately. Even if he lost, he won because he got the, you know, he got the crowd back on the side, the American folks, even those on the left. I've had multiple, you know, family members, friends reaching out to me and asking me about Donald Trump in these cases, especially after that guilty verdict. You know, folks that, you know, never would have thought about or looked at Donald Trump, you know, they're asking, reaching out to who they think knows the most, and they're saying, hey, what's going on with this guy? This doesn't seem right. You know, something stinks. And that's flat out what this case has done for America. You know, Alina Habba letting us know this thing isn't dead. Just because we got that guilty verdict, there's still high hopes for Donald Trump inside the Supreme Court. Definitely hop in the comment section, guys. Let me know your thoughts on this one. You know, we didn't think we were going to get, you know, a cute and fair case in this one, but ultimately, I think it done what it was supposed to do, guys. Definitely let me know in the comment section. Do you guys think this case hurt or hindered Donald Trump more or less inside of the American people's eye based on, you know, the guilty verdict in this case? Definitely hop in the comment section. Let me know your thoughts. Also, make sure you guys hit that share button and share this out to as many Facebook friends as possible. Guys, share the truth. Also, make sure you guys hit that like button. It doesn't cost one thing, guys. Hit that like button for your boy, and also hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to the truth. Hop aboard for the journey. I'll catch you guys on the next one. We go.